Hi everyone, I'm Zsofia and the title of my presentation is The Lithium Economy, Bolivia's New Resource and Its Role in Revolutionary Politics. I am originally from Hungary. I'm a Hungarian doctorate candidate at UNM at the Department of Anthropology, specializing in ethnology. I'm also a very proud recipient of 2 FRGs and a very proud LAII fellow currently conducting dissertation fieldwork in Bolivia. Thanks for the LAII for letting me do this presentation online. So what did I do with the 2 FRGs? I conducted preliminary fieldwork. I visited Bolivia twice, and the goal was to basically create a foundation for my dissertation project, to visit important mining locations, and to contextualize lithium extraction. So why did I visit these historical places such as Potosi in the first place? Well, because I would like to argue that natural resource conflicts in Bolivia must be understood in the context of historical cycles of colonial and neo-colonial projects. In the case of Bolivia, we of course talk about the colonial silver or Potosi era, the tin or Oruro era, and we could say the lithium era, which is basically right now. Here you can see 2 classics in anthropology, Taussig's The Devil and Commodity Fetishism in South America, and June Nash's famous ethnography. Here you can see me with the devil, the Tio, in Potosi. My main research site, the Salar, is the world's or the planet's largest salt flat, and it's located very high in the Andes in the department of Potosi in Bolivia. There are many Aymara legends, but crucially for us, the Salar contains around 70% of the planet's known lithium reserves. As you can see, the Salar is a very intriguing, beautiful, but at the same time a very dangerous and inhospitable place. Probably one of the most inhospitable places on Earth today, and this is its surface during wet season. So the Morales regime nationalized the lithium reserve, and the regime also built its very own lithium production pilot plant so that they can start to industrialize this resource. So why is industrialization important? It is important because it is through industrialization that the Morales regime promised to break these vicious cycles of exploitative extractions, which I mentioned earlier. Accordingly, with time, I started to shift my focus from just extraction to the industrialization of this resource. This is Uyuni. This is my heater, which I shouldn't leave on for the night, otherwise I might not wake up in the morning. It's a very deserted place, and although Bolivia has a culture of not finishing their buildings because of tax reasons, as you can see, development did not quite reach this place. Development that was promised by the government did not quite happen during these years. So what about my dissertation fieldwork? I arrived in Bolivia in September, and I intended to pursue the following questions. What are the ontological underpinnings of the ideological and political struggles around the industrialization of lithium, and how and why is the industrialization of lithium taken up as a political tool and posited as a site of state building despite the earlier mentioned historical failures of extraction-based development? As soon as I arrived, basically the plurinational state apparatus suddenly crumbled. violent opposition protest led by Carlos Mesa kicked off basically at the beginning of November, end of October. The radicalization of the right immediately followed. I found myself in a country without a president. Evo Morales basically resigned. He fled to Mexico. And in November, without legislative quorum, Janine Áñez was declared the new president of Bolivia. I'm going to show you some images about the upheavals. So how did this state meltdown and political crisis influence my methodology and my analysis? Well, I'm a cultural anthropologist, so one of my main methodological tools is ethnography and conducting participant observation. I'm also conducting semi-structured interviews, and I'm incorporating into my project methodological moves and insights from the ontological turn in anthropology. It's quite difficult to understand. It's a little bit technical for a layman, but let's say it's about shifting focus from epistemological questions to that of ontology, or rather onto epistemology. And for me, one of the main insights of the ontological turn in anthropology is not trumping and not distorting your ethnographic material with, let's say, French theory. So in the light of the upheavals, I got more and more convinced that it is crucial to talk about revolutionary politics. And curiously, in our discipline, anthropologists, for some reason, have tended to miss revolutions, even though they sometimes happened at their doorstep. And there's a great article about this by an anthropologist who was working in Peru. The title of the journal article is Missing Revolutions, Anthropologists and the War in Peru. And this book that you see is not out yet. It's going to be titled The Anthropology of Revolutions, and it signals basically a milestone in our discipline where anthropologists try to address revolutionary processes from an anthropological point of view and really ask the question, what can anthropological thinking contribute to the study of revolutions? You know, historians, political sciences have written about revolutions a tremendous amount, not so anthropologists. Question is then, can we develop an anthropological approach to revolutions, and can we look at revolutionary processes as cosmogenic acts and then look at revolutions as if they were cosmological questions? If you think about revolutions, you could say, even if you do not really agree metaphysically with the concept of the world as an all-encompassing entity, you could say that revolutionary processes are cosmological. There's a Big Bang, and then a regime, basically tries to create a better world, which is, in my view, an ontological question, because it's a cosmological and a cosmogenic question. So the first step would be then analyzing how a revolutionary process as a distinctive political form dictates its own terms of engagement. And the second step would be to start to analyze how people who are experiencing this revolutionary process experience this process and how they relate to this process. Accordingly, so as to better understand the political ontology of the process of change in Bolivia, el proceso del cambio, I started to examine governmental documents and websites that are being terminated by the Agnes regime. So I'm also saving these materials for further analysis. Finally, and thank you for your patience, to recap, in my dissertation, I would like to illustrate how the political ontology of the Morales regime intersected with the industrialization of lithium in the context of revolutionary politics, and to analyze how, quite ironically, governmental conduct around the industrialization of lithium, while it contributed to the construction of the plurinational state, the so-called plurinational state for a while, it also deepened regional and interdepartmental conflicts. These conflicts, as I came to realize, played a key role in the fall of the Morales regime and the collapse of the plurinational state. Finally, I hope that I can illustrate that the question of lithium and its future in Bolivia is looming larger than ever after Evo and the historic fall of its self-proclaimed revolutionary government. Thank you.